Hello to everyone. As always, if you've seen my videos, you know you can't escape this screen because I will always credit the people who helped get me started, whose knowledge I built on and allowed me to make the videos that I make today. So check all these people out. Today is a really happy video for me. And why am I happy? Because you're looking at a Yeti I printed on my Ender 3, and I'm going to show my resin print of it toward the end of the video. So make sure you stay tuned to see that and some other cool stuff from the same artist. This artist, his name is Joshua Black, and he actually had sculpted some other stuff I had, but I didn't even know that. So the story here is I was asked to test print some stuff for the Wintertide Kickstarter. It's pretty an amazing looking Kickstarter because I didn't have any wintry type figures, creatures, monsters, or scattered terrain, so I was really excited to test print for it. And a lot of the models there are touted as supportless models, and I was sent the Yeti to print, and I was pretty excited. I thought a supportless Yeti, that's pretty interesting because it's really hard to sculpt a model that's detailed, looks good, and is also supportless. So I was a little skeptical, to be honest. But I was still excited at the same time. You have to be open-minded with this stuff. I rarely find that a supportless model is truly supportless and has lots of really good detail. Although there are some, Dungeon Works makes some models like that. And so does Vivictus Patreon. But anyway, getting back to this Yeti. So this Yeti was the first thing that I was asked to test print. And like I said, I was pretty excited to do it. And you're looking at how it came out. And then I'm going to talk to you about what I'm really here to talk today about. Is I'm not here to pump a Kickstarter. I'm here to talk about, or an artist, I'm here to talk about how you should sculpt teeth and fur. So you're looking, the reason I'm showing my Ender print first is I want you to see how nice the detail of the fur and the teeth, if you looked at the front part of it when it was on, you'll see how nice they printed out. So now let's go into how we got to this point. So I got the file, I dropped it into my Chitubox slicer because it's easier. I don't want to look at Cura for finding support places. I dropped it in, I was like, holy crap, this sucks. I'm looking at fur with a lot of detail. This looked to me, I'm going to have to place about 500 supports on this thing. And you're telling me this is support free? I'm dropping it in my slicer, and I honestly, at first I didn't even want to try to support it. I'm looking at it and think, oh my God, look at all the undulations on the fur. Teeth look fine to me. I have to zoom in to check it out, but I'm just looking at the underside of all these fur pieces. If I tilt the model at all, backwards, I'm going to have to put like 500 supports in the back. So actually, I was not looking forward to test printing this once I dropped it in my slicer. And then I thought, you know what? One of the things I should do is really, look at it a little closer, be open-minded. I was told this is supposed to be basically supportless. How could that be with all this fur? So what I did was I thought, let me zoom in a little bit and start looking at this thing and see how it really looks and where I'm going to need, to put hundreds of supports and where I might not need to put hundreds of supports. So I went into my support mode. I moused over it like you see here, and wait a second. I just moused over the whole model. It was quickly, but I moused over the whole model, and at a quick glance, I didn't see any place to put supports. And I look in the mouth, I see some really nice, well-defined teeth, and no supports in there either. I'm like, what the hell? Is this right? Something's wrong with my slicer? Because I'm looking at all this fur and these teeth, and some of it's angled down, and there's undulations. There's got to be islands, right? And to be fair to myself, I was right. I did find actually just a few, but so very few considering all this fur. And look, the ironic thing is, where do I find my first island? It's not on the fur. It's on that curled up finger right above the curled in part. There's a tiny little island right there. That's like the only one I spotted when I'm mousing over the first time. It's incredible. I'm thinking, this is the holy grail of sculpting fur and fangs. I just made a video telling artists how they should sculpt fur and fangs, but I didn't really have a great example. And then, wow, I get asked to test print this from this artist, Joshua Black, and oh my God, this is what I was looking for. This is the example. So I obviously can't take any credit. I'm just sharing the work of this other artist. Again, his name is Joshua Black, and I'm going to have some other sculpt from him at the end. And so also his information is in the links, because if you're hiring someone to make some models for you and you want something that prints out really well, hire this guy, because, it's pretty incredible what he achieved here. This level of detail on fur and teeth, and basically no supports at all. I mean, I'm still stunned by what I'm looking at. So I did find a few little spots where it needed supports, and I want to talk to you. I'm going to redo another little video added in here where I talk very specifically about the fur and the fangs, how to actually do it. From my perspective as a non-sculptor, what the sculptor did, what makes it truly work. So you see there are a couple little islands here, and even when there's no islands, there are some pretty deep red, which means it's areas that could use support. So the two supports on the arms, by the way, those are not islands. I just dropped them there to help the model. But these ones on the belly, they were kind of tiny little minuscule islands that, you guys watch my videos, I don't leave even the tiniest island unsupported. Can leave cured resin floating in my vat or stuck to my FEP, and I don't want to damage my FEP or my machine or my next print. So even something a few pixels, I'm supporting it. Okay, so now let's look at a little bit more the model. And the one behind it, by the way, even though it's hunched over, there was also amazingly few supports. So here I'm just still looking to see if I can find any other place that needs supports here. And really, it's just an immaculate job of sculpting at angles so that really almost nothing needs support. Again, here's that one little island I found, like I said, of all the weird places, on the tippy top of the hand, instead of all the fur and the teeth and all the little bits that you would normally expect. Even that, there's no island there. I could support it, but I don't need to, which is great. So, again, I'm just marveling how the horns, the teeth, everything. I'm looking here just to double check to see if there's an island there, and nope, no island. So, I just kept checking because I was actually stunned that someone could sculpt this much fur and really good-looking teeth like that, and I don't need to support it. And even the one that's bent over, if you're looking in the background, it's not my Focuses model, just a couple tiny little spots where even almost horizontal, where the fur somehow needed supports. So pretty incredible stuff, especially this is just a test print. The artist might even correct these little bits and it might not even need it. Because on the next part of the video, which we're about to jump into, I'm going to focus a lot closer in on these teeth and this fur to see what was actually done. So you artists, when you're sculpting out there, please keep in mind, watch this video twice if you have to. I made this video for the community. Because if the artists sculpt like this, then it makes it way better for the rest of the community. So now here's the close-in look. So the teeth, you can see what he did here is he packed in material behind the teeth, yet less spaces between the teeth. So if you hit this with a wash, or if you just say go in and paint the whole mouth black, or say deep dark red, and then just pick out the teeth, you will have fangs that look like they're floating free in the mouth, even though they're actually touching other material. On a mini like this, I mean, unless you're under a microscope, you'll never see it. The material is actually packed in behind it. And that's because he made the teeth protrude out from that enough and curve outward enough from that. Not enough that it creates islands that need support, but enough that you'll very, very easily see it, once it's painted up. And even unpainted, if you look back at the FDM print I did, you can see each fang pretty clearly, even though there's material packed behind it, and it's all the exact same color. So that already tells you how well done it is. So I'm a big fan of packing the material behind the mouth like this. Now you say, oh, Greg, but I want an open mouth. I don't want to give up my artistic. I want a yelling mouth. You pack it up to the point of the teeth and then angle down at like a 45-degree angle in the opening and a 45-degree angle up from the bottom teeth, and you'll have an open mouth that still doesn't need support. So I don't have an example of that yet. I'm hoping someone will sculpt one of those so I can show you guys, but it's a pretty easy concept to get. The other thing you can do is you can just make the fang tips touch each other, but then of course you lose some of the definition. I kind of like this. He did each tooth separately and left a nice gap for a wash or just for a deeper color, and really you could pick out every teeth here. I think this is truly a master class on how to sculpt fangs, especially this mouth is slightly open, and I think it's going to look amazing. Now you look at the fur. How can you have an arm bent down with undulations and it doesn't require supports? Let me go back to the support screen so you can see there's not a single island here. Just glancing at you and said, oh my god, I have to support 50, 60 things of fur there, because normally that's what I do on an arm like that when another artist sculpts it. So if you look closely now, what I'm trying to show you is each part of the fur, not only does it touch the skin, it's feathered up at an angle. It gradually hits its undulation. So that requires no supports. Now here on the biggest problem area, this part of the leg's almost horizontal. You can see it's red, but there's almost no islands. I found one teeny, tiny little island which you see a support on. But look how the artist feathers up the fur at an angle. So even with undulations and detail, there is good detail. This is going to look like fur when I paint it. But you see how it's feathered up even from the skin so that it doesn't create an island and doesn't require a support. I mean, this is truly a masterpiece of sculpting, if you ask me, in terms of it looks really good, plus it doesn't need supports. You know, I've seen a lot of fur that looks good, and then I literally on a leg like that, I might have put 20 supports. Every single undulation of fur, usually when I see from other artists, requires a support. This Joshua Black sculpted this, and even the stuff that's somehow horizontal, he still was able to figure out the angles to feather things that it didn't require supports. This back, I'm looking at the back, and I honestly, I thought I was going to have 100 supports back here. It's pretty crazy that he sculpted really high detail. If you ask me, this is very high detail in the fur without creating a single island back there. So I really, really hope all the artists are paying attention out there. And in a minute, and again, I still like that there's one little support, you know, needed all the way at the top of the model. Even the back here, I thought during the butt, the fur down there, it's still feathered up from the legs that no supports needed. Pretty incredible job. So kudos to the artist here, Joshua Black. I'm going to keep saying his name because, you know, this guy deserves all the credit. I'm making the video, and I got his permission, by the way, of course. I'm making the video, but he's the one who's actually teaching you by making this incredible sculpt. And here's the resin print. You know, the two Yetis he sculpted. You see, of course, in resin they came out immaculate, and they're that fur. Hopefully you can see the detail. You know, it's all gray, so it's a little tougher. That fur came out great. There's so much detail that I'm going to be able to paint up that I didn't have to support. It really, really made me happy to see. And of course, the teeth came out also really perfectly. You know, what I said when I was mousing over it in the Chidu box, that I'm going to be able to pick these out and paint them really easily. That's absolutely true. I'll be able to paint them out black and then just dry brush it with bone if I want and just easily pick out all the teeth. It's going to look great. And if a real painter gets it instead of me, it's going to look totally amazing. So the funny thing is, so this artist sculpted this stuff, and I reached out to him to get his permission because I would never do anything without an artist's permission. And when I went to his website just to get a feel for other stuff he's done, I noticed, hey, wait, I think this guy did the dragon from another Kickstarter I had backed, you know, a few months ago, which was the Lost Adventures Kickstarter. And I asked him, and he confirmed he had done this green dragon, which I think this is another amazing sculpt. Look at the detail on this. The dragon looks like it's prowling. I mean, it's pretty great sculpt. So I was excited that turned out I had actually printed other stuff by this artist without even knowing it. And this was one of my favorite sculpts I'd printed before anyway. So it was nice to see confirmation this guy is really good. And I had actually liked his previous work, just I didn't know it was his. So listen, please go check this guy out. I'm linking his Facebook page and his Artstation page. And like I said, if someone's out there making commissions, this guy just gave this information up and gave me permission to use his sculpt for free to help teach other people. He deserves some love back from this community. So please support this guy, Joshua Black. If you're hiring people to do a Kickstarter, I mean, look at how great his art is, and also it's so sculpted for 3D printing. You can't go wrong hiring this guy. So I really hope everyone likes this video. Please hit the like button. It's important that I get the likes. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I have a lot of other videos on how to teach you how to print stuff like this. And most of all, I hope you learned something. Hope you had fun watching, and I hope to see everyone again soon in my next video. Bye.